Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I hope you're ready for this because I'm super excited. I decided to build a restaurant and it's an airplane. It's fully functional. A while ago, I have created lots of Barbie builds. And then I got the suggestion to build the Barbie plane, but I never did. And I just felt like building a regular plane. So this is not a Barbie plane. So maybe one day, if you like this one, I can also create a more compact Barbie plane. But this is just a gigantic jumbo jet. It's a 64 by 64 lot. Your Sims can go out and have dinner. This is like a super fancy, extra special restaurant. I just wanted to build something out of the ordinary, and ever since I got the recommendation for the Barbie plane, I just couldn't stop thinking about building a plane. This has been done before in The Sims by amazing creators such as Mr. Alcan and RG. And I just wanted to create my own version of a jumbo jet. I took a look at lots of real-life jumbo jets to get the idea. And you will see in the video how I'm making lots of adjustments in between. The biggest challenge for me was to find the correct placement for the wings, because the proportions just have to be right. If you want to build something like this, you have to get the proportions right. That's just how it is. And it looked super short and weird in the very beginning, and then started to work on the wings and then changed the position using tool, because I created the wings using lots of body stony goodness slabs, so lots of individual objects. And this was kind of the biggest challenge for me. And I found a aerial view of a jumbo jet, and this is how I was trying to get the proportions right. And I'm pretty confident that this is still not 100% correct. I mean, of course it can't be like completely authentic because it's just The Sims and we are limited with what you can do in this game still, but I just hope that it's okay when it comes to the proportions. And I started off by working on the nose of the plane, which was super difficult. I made multiple attempts. I knew that I would like to incorporate round walls because round walls are just perfect for something like this. I wanted to have a round shape in the front so it looks like a plane. We finally got the curved rooms, so why not using them? But it's like super hard for me to work on a build like this and to make it look like the real deal. Like, some of you might remember the Barbie camper that I had built, and it looked super weird. Like, in the beginning, I was working on the camper and I was laying out the shape of it, and it was looking super weird. And then, like, in the last half of the video, I was kind of realizing that it's looking pretty stupid and I was making so many changes, and then it looked kind of okay. And it's the same thing here. I have so much respect for all these amazing builders who create all kinds of different things which are not mansions, and they just look like the real deal. And yeah, I have a hard time, but this is also what's fun. Sometimes you just have to challenge yourself, you just have to give it a try, and you just have to step out of your comfort zone. And I definitely left my comfort zone here. And also in the very beginning, I was just looking at debug, because whenever I'm working on a build like this, I stumble upon so many objects that I've never seen before or that I would never use, because I'm a mansion builder usually. So when I'm working on a build like this, I have to use all kinds of different objects, stuff that I've never used before. And I really like to take a look at debug and live edit first. And I just like to place some of the objects that I think could be useful in the corner of the lot. This is why you might have spotted some objects in the corner of the lot. I've also done the same when I was working on the Barbie camper. I'm just placing random objects on the lot so they are ready to be used. The reason for this is when I'm working on a mansion or just a regular house or a community lot, I just know what I want to use and where to quickly find it. But here, I just have no idea. Like, I just really had to figure out what to use and what to do, and I had the best time though. And I just hope that you like how it turned out, and maybe your Sims are going to have dinner in this plane one day. And you just saw how I've worked on the wings. So I just decided to use floor pieces to support this body stony goodness slab, which is this little white object, which is usually supposed to be placed on a water surface. And I just created a custom shape for the wings. My original idea was to simply use a roof, because you can use roofs for all kinds of different things, but it just wasn't looking right. I didn't really enjoy how it was looking. And as I said earlier, I was looking at real life jumbo jets and I was trying to figure out what the wings are supposed to look like. And I then wanted to recreate this exact look. And oh, here I'm using a vacuum cleaner that I found in debug, and I've used this for the back of the plane because I thought it looked amazing. And yeah, I mean, not 100% authentic again because it's a vacuum cleaner, but I like what it looks like. This here is a debug object from Journey to Batu, I think, in combination with a infinity mirror. The mirror is from Decor to the Max, and this is how I wanted to create the jet engines, because I thought that the infinity mirror just kind of gives it the look. And you can here see the vacuum cleaner once again, and I was using a base game bowl. I had used the same one in the front of the plane for the nose, and I'm using tool in some areas for this, but as always, this is not affecting the gallery upload or the tray files. So you can just download this from the gallery or grab the tray files from my Patreon. This is not going to affect the upload, the build itself. You won't need the mod, even though I'm always recommending the Amazing 2 mod by Twisted Maxi, but you won't need it. You can just grab this. This just made my life so much easier because, for one, I was able to rotate some objects just like the vacuum cleaner, but I was also able to move the rings around. You can here see how I'm using the Spade Stony Goodness slab again, and the biggest challenge for me is to make stuff like this symmetrical so it's not looking wrong. This is what I'm trying to do here, so it's the same on both sides. I wish we could use the 2 mod to mirror objects. This would be so cool, like duplicating and mirroring. And yeah, this is what I'm trying to do here. You can see that the angle is not perfect, and I had to change this, and this is kind of how the whole plane came about. You could simply use roofs for this, as I was attempting to do first. This is also looking great, but I just really wanted to have this very typical shape, and I was just going by a real life example. And yeah, of course it's not looking perfect. And here I'm using the 2 mod to duplicate these objects, so it's a bit thicker, so it looks more realistic. There's just more dimension to it. And I then started to decorate the exterior a bit. I'm going to work on the rest of the exterior at the end of the video, so I was just kind of jumping back and forth, because at first I wanted to finish the exterior, but then I was kind of running out of ideas and I started to furnish. And yeah, this is like supposed to be like a pile of luggage, so it looks like a real airport kind of. I was then starting to work on the cockpit. For this, I've used base game windows. I sized them down using tool, and this way they basically made the wall translucent. And the reason for this is that I just had this glass window on the outside, which was already supposed to be the window of the cockpit. So I just had to like use some windows and make them translucent because I still needed a fully closed room basically. And I've used all kinds of different objects that I could find for the cockpit just to make it look like the real deal, at least a little bit. Like this object here, for example, I have no idea where it came from. I was looking at debug, I was looking at stuff from Strangerville, which is always a good pack for stuff like this. And yeah, I obviously built the cockpit in the front of the plane, and then right behind it, I've built a section for the flight attendants, so you could prepare some food over there. So I just wanted this to look at least semi-realistic. I've placed some chairs, so this is where they would sit down during the start and landing. And I've also used a bit of clutter. I got the 2 new kits and I'm really excited about them. The carpet is from the Amazing Pastel kit, the one that Plumbella created, and I'm just so obsessed with the carpet. I've used it in the whole plane. I love it. It comes in all kinds of different colors, and what I really love is the whole kit is about pastel colors, but there are also some neutral swatches. And I've used this black swatch for this area, for example, but then as you will see, I'm going to use a pastel blue one for some other areas because I wanted to incorporate a bit of color, even though I was going for neutral colors. I was looking at real life planes. I was looking at these luxury planes by Emirates and stuff, so it's like really more on the luxurious side, even the economy class. And yeah, I've built, as you will see, a economy class, a business class, a first class, and there's even a complete suite which you can sometimes see in big planes like this one. I think once again it's Emirates, which has a suite like this. And of course, this is like not a realistic replication because it looks more like a master bedroom, but I just wanted to go all out and I included just everything. And of course the restaurant, because this is what the build is mainly about. Here I'm working on the economy class. I just wanted to have a really out of the ordinary wall because I just applied a wallpaper, and of course I had my windows placed already, but it looked so empty and boring, so I wanted to decorate the walls. So this is what I did. I've used the wall decoration from high school years, and also this wall decoration which is supposed to like look like wallpaper from Decor to the Max. I've used the LED lights from high school years, and I just kind of created my custom wall, and I wanted the economy class to be really bright and warm, so this is why I've used these colors. And here I'm connecting the economy class to the business class. I think this is what I'm going to work on next. And this one is much more darker. I was going for this very dark, luxurious look. I'm going to use dark wood paneling on the walls. I've used the same objects that I had used in the economy class to decorate the walls, but I've used a different swatch, so it's much darker. And I've used half walls to separate everything. So you kind of have your own little separate area where you can lay down and you can just sleep and relax during your very long flight. And the thing is, the plane is relatively big, so luckily I was not running out of space. At first I wasn't really sure because the economy class was quite spacious. I mean, I had 2 levels, but I was kind of afraid to like not being able to include everything, but I like had lots of space to work with, luckily. And I've used these LED stripes from high school years everywhere, and also these light stripes for the floor from a spa day. I've combined different carpets. I've used different rugs from the wedding pack, for example. I just wanted this to look as detailed and beautiful as possible without doing too much, because after all it's still a plane. And I've placed these tables and I've decorated them a bit. I've used the new clutter kit for this, but I didn't want to add too many objects. I just wanted this to like be realistic. I've added some TVs. So there's a screen, so maybe you can watch a movie or you can see where the plane is currently located, this kind of stuff. And I just did my best to make it look luxurious but also realistic. I then wanted to separate the area more using curtains from the Desert Luxe kit. For this I've placed a regular wall, so I was able to attach the curtains, and I then like placed my curtains, the curtain rod, and then I deleted the wall, so I only had the curtains left. I just wanted to have some curtains so it looks like they are like attached at the ceiling, for example. I did not want to have a random wall in between my business class, so I just used the wall to have perfect placement for the curtains. And I then worked on the next section, and this is going to be the restaurant. So this is where your Sims are able to eat, but first I worked on the bathroom because like I laid out the whole area for the restaurant, but then I remembered, okay, there's no bathroom. So I removed a small section of the economy class to build this bathroom. I wanted this to look futuristic and like the inside of a plane, but still luxurious. And I just love the color scheme. So I was working with this pastel blue. And here also, as you can see in the restaurant area, I've used the carpet from the pastel kit to have a nice pop of color. And also these dark curtains, so it just looks really atmospheric and just really nice for a restaurant. So this is where your Sims can actually dine and have a nice evening. And yeah, the lot type is restaurant. It includes anything you need for a restaurant in the game, and you can just use this as a regular community lot. You could also use this for storytelling purposes. It's just a really fun, out of the ordinary build, and if you should use this, I'm always excited to hear from you. Like, in case you like this lot and use it, just leave a comment down below. I'm always excited. If you should use it in some type of video, just tag me. I'm always excited to see this. I feel like this could be fun for some type of, I don't know, maybe a machinima or just story gameplay. I don't know. It's really fun, and I had fun creating this, so maybe some of you might have fun using this, maybe even just as a restaurant. Yeah, and here I'm trying to find the correct position for stairs, and I'm always struggling like this when it comes to builds like this, like sometimes even in mansions you can see what's going on. So this is just really normal for me. I never know how to shape the stairs. I have a hard time finding the correct position, but eventually I settled on this spot and it all worked out. So you can enter the plane and you can walk down the stairs immediately. And my idea was, as you will see, to have a really big spacious bar in the center of the plane, because again, when you look at these really luxurious planes, you will see that there's usually a bar. And I just thought it would be fun, like if your Sims go out and they have dinner, they can also like go down one level and they can have a drink or something. So you can really have a nice night out with your Sims in case you're using this as a community lot. And yeah, here I'm building the kitchen, and I actually had to expand the whole room by one tile, and I still had to make sure that the exterior would look right, because I did not have enough space for the professional kitchen, the chef's kitchen. That is a requirement for the restaurant lot type. And this is the bar. I've used 2 bars from Journey to Batu, so I have this round look, and I just decorated the room a bit, but again, not too much, so it still could be a really over-the-top plane. You can just sit down, have a drink, and just have a good night out. I've placed a piano in there. It's really spacious, and yeah, I eventually had enough space to do something like this, and this was kind of my goal. This really weird ceiling lamp is from Strangerville. It looks like a UFO, but I thought it looks cool, and it kind of made sense because I wanted to have a really big round object in the center of these 2 bars, and it just looked so cool. I've used the sectional sofa from Dream Home Decorator and just different areas where you can sit down. And I had so much fun furnishing this. Like, I'm like not really that fond of community lots usually, as you all know. Sometimes some of you are telling me, please maybe build a community lot for once, and I'm always hesitant because I love to work on mansions, but whenever I'm furnishing a community lot, I just notice how much fun I have, because furnishing is always kind of cool, but furnishing mansion after mansion, it just gets old at some point, especially when you are furnishing lots of bedrooms. Like, this is something I get tired of really easily. Like, I like to work on the kitchen, the living room, just everything, but after furnishing, I don't know, 4 bedrooms, it's kind of enough, but there are like still 4 more bedrooms to furnish, if you know what I mean. But working on a community lot is always different and so fun, so it's always a pleasure. Like, working on the economy class, trying to figure it all out, was the best thing ever. Yeah, and this is kind of the first class, and I just wanted to have more suites which would include beds, but smaller beds kind of. And this is kind of the master suite. And I've watched a Casey Neistat video about this really expensive plane ticket, the luxurious suite in the Emirates plane, I think. And I think it costs like $20,000, like one ticket. It's absolutely crazy. And I was going for this type of thing, even though it doesn't look like the inside of a plane anymore at this point, but I just wanted to go all out and include a room like this. And I then went back to work on the exterior because I wasn't really done with the exterior. I was once again looking up pictures on Google to get an idea, like I just had no idea what to do, to be honest. And this, once again, is not completely authentic, but I basically changed the whole layout a bit to make it look a bit more realistic and more detailed. And for this, I'm using an object from Get Together. It can be found in the decoration section, and it works like a rug. It looks like a rug, but you can't find it in the rug section for whatever reason. And I love this object so much. It's amazing. And then also used a yellow fence from Get to Work, I think, to create a pattern like this, because on a picture on Google, I also saw this type of stuff. I'm pretty sure that the placement is not correct, because all of this has to mean something. So if someone is into aviation here, you might be like, what is going on? This doesn't make sense. And I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I just did my best to make it look fancy. I then also decided to build a tower. For this, I've used round walls, and here's why I did that. Like, not only because it just makes sense, because I'm like building a plane and it's like cute to have the tower in the back, but the main reason is when the Desert Lux kit came out, I was looking at the modern windows, and the very first thought was, this looks like the windows that could be used for a tower. And you can here see it, like you can see I'm placing them and what I'm talking about. This was kind of my first idea when the kit came out. I could just never use them because I've never built an airport tower before. But yeah, it just makes sense. So I just wanted to include this. I would have loved if the whole thing would be taller, but we can only build 4 stories, and the plane has the lowest wall height available. And yeah, this is why it's looking like this. And this is it. This video is slowly coming to an end. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. You can here see lots of screenshots. This build is CC free and unmodded in the gallery. And you can also grab the tray files from my Patreon. And speaking of which, it's time to thank my wonderful Emerald Patreons and my Emerald YouTube members. A big thank you to Mehmet Ali Baris Khan, Asia, Aluna Bleu, Jake Ridehouse, Lady Sims KTY, Leah Cross, Ryan, Lisa Martin, Stephanie Mead, Shannon McClam, Stemlicious, and Steven. Thank you so much for your gigantic support. It means the world to me. A big thank you to all my other Patreons and YouTube members. And of course, a big thank you to anyone who's watching. Thank you for just being here. I love you all so, so much, and I really appreciate it. I hope you will have a perfect day, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye.